Could you guess what stops most women from reaching their goals? Beyond the excuse that there's just not enough time or they don't have something, just fill in the blank, the knowledge, the skill, the capability of doing something. I would say that the biggest factor that stops women from achieving their goal is what happens when they start working towards something and they miss a day or they miss a week and life throws them a curveball and they can't get back into the rhythm. And this is why I want to have this conversation with you today on day 14, 2 weeks done of a part of our year in strength challenge. So in the previous video, day 13, if you want to track and check that, I chatted with you about how you can make your days better by creating space with just 10 minutes a day. I'm all in to maximizing the effort without spending more time. And that's exactly what we do in these videos. And so I love that. All of that I feel is really solid. And I think you're likely to agree with me on that. And yet, there's the possibility that you may struggle to get going some days. You may subconsciously even resist creating this new routine, even though it's only 10 minutes. You might even start off strong and then fall off and judge yourself or wonder about, why can't I just do this? And that's what I want to speak to you today in this conversation, because I met a woman yesterday and we got to chatting. And as part of that conversation, one of the things that she said that really struck me is she says, I am so bad at creating routines, following along with anything that needs to be done on a daily basis. And she just completely identified with that as a part of who she was, her persona. And so that's why I felt the need to have this conversation, because it's so important for us to understand that persistence can dominate when you are trying to build a consistent new routine, a new habit to do something. So let's talk about this. There are those of us who, when getting started, when figuring things out, when going through life with creative brains and inspiration, distractions and hormones, and all the other challenges of life that cause us to lose focus, it can become a challenge to be consistent. So I don't want to leave you out of the conversation. Like, I want to speak to you so clearly because this is me. This is how I am wired. And so sometimes building up consistency can be a challenge for me. And if you fail to be consistent for whatever reason, you could, depending on your past performance, depending on how you've treated yourself up until now, you might shame yourself, judge yourself, or stop taking action altogether because you're thinking you're not good enough or you don't have it in you, you don't have what it takes, and you need something different, et cetera, et cetera. These are all areas I've struggled with. These are all things I've said to myself. So I can speak to this really clearly. And these are all ways that I've hurt my own success and prevented myself from being able to move forward because in some way, shape, or form, I didn't live up to the expectation of what I thought I was supposed to be and what I expected to happen and how I believed it was all going to go down. I wasn't consistently doing the thing day in and day out. And at some point, I just judged myself and shut myself down and gave up because it feels better to shut it down and remove it from your life, no longer be thinking about it, than to carry around guilt or shame or even blame and excuses about, oh, well, why can't I just do this? Or I really need to pressure myself into getting this done because I made this commitment. And you put a lot of judgment and pressure on yourself to hit the target, to keep going. And you could even suffer through things on days when your energy ebbs and flows, or you're not feeling well, or whatever other reason. I've done this, and I've done this with goals for my business. I've done this with weight loss goals. I've done this with workouts. I mean, so many different areas where I have pressed myself to keep going. And when I got to a point when I couldn't maintain that consistency, I judged myself and I shut down. And this is why I want to share this with you today to remind you, first of all, you're awesome. Like the fact that you're even here, you're tuning in, you're listening, you're considering this for yourself, that shows how much potential you have to offer. And it's just that despite our best efforts, for some of us, it can be a little bit harder to be able to show up, maintain our consistency, and own that for ourselves without it becoming a challenge, becoming a burden. So now I want to shift because now that we've identified the problem, and I hope that you can resonate with that, and we understand what is happening, here are the 3 tips that I want to offer you to help you to overcome this. So tip number 1, stop comparing yourself to somebody else. That's a big one. Stop holding on to an expectation of what you think it should be and how you should be showing up, etc. The expectation is likely to get into your head and make you feel pressure, make you feel judgment against yourself because somebody told you that there's a certain way to do it or that there's a performance metric or whatever. Please, please, please let that go. Release you, if you just need to hear me say it, I release you of any expectation for how you need to show up. I am saying take this year in strength challenge and commit to giving yourself 10 minutes a day of moving on the rebounder, but you can move with me. You can move in your own way, pace and shape and form. Just do what works for your body. I have always been a big proponent of that. Move how it works for your body. So release the expectation of how you think it should be. And if 10 minutes is too much and all you can commit to right now is 5 minutes or 3 minutes, like friend, do you know how much that can do impact on your body? Look it up. Rebounding can have such dramatic effects in such a short amount of time. So you do you for what works with you. I'm just talking about you building in the habit of taking care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally in the way that works best for you. So that would be tip number one. Tip number two is to create a system of support around yourself. So let me tell you this. There are many things I wanted to do this year, but I would say there are only three things I have shown up with total consistency towards. And to break it down and make this really simple to understand, I would say that one of those things that I've done very consistently about 95 to 99% of the time, so notice that not even 100% of the time, is that I have committed to walking my dog on a daily basis. And on the days that I, for whatever reason, was not going to make it outside and take him for a walk, I made sure that there was somebody else in my family who did get him outside and did get him that value time outside that he needs just to enjoy his walks because it matters to me. And because I know it matters to him and I love him and I want to give him that. And so this is honestly, you may take this for granted. You might not think anything of this, but for people like me who can be a little bit like, I don't want to use the word spacey, but like no other word is coming to my mind right now, but just like scattered and distracted and can really consumed doing other things. Sometimes you can forget to take time to move your body, to work out, or to do simple things like take your dog for a walk. And so it really has mattered to me that I made this a level of commitment so that I build a system of support around me to make sure that he gets his walks in. Another way I've shown up with consistency is here on the YouTube channel. I had no idea when I started this how impactful it would be for me to be able to maintain a daily and regular consistent schedule. There's a great amount of effort that is required for sure, but having this as the established foundation, like knowing that I'm just going to publish a video on a daily basis, like clears my brain of thinking about when am I going to publish a video or what am I going to do? And I stop overthinking my topics. I wake up and I write out the message that I want to share for the day. And then I plan out when I'm going to work out. And I know that I have to get all this in before a certain amount of time so that I can get the editing done and I can make sure that it's published. And I even have a set time for when I'm going to publish at 5:45 p.m. right now. Eastern time is my published date or time throughout the challenge. And so I set all of these parameters into effect because then it builds a system for me that I can just in my brain go check, 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 right? I know the different things that need to be done and in the order they need to be completed. And so it stops me from overthinking and stressing out. Now, the third tip, claim your potential by living into persistence. This means you are not releasing the goal when things don't go as planned. So let's talk about this. Instead, you get yourself back up, you dust yourself off, and you go at it again. That's persistence. So even if you lost your consistency and you didn't do it for a few days, for example, you start again because you know you're worth it, because you know you want to. Persistence may take a little bit longer for you to hit the end goal or get to where you're going, but it's great, great satisfaction. And you will be so delighted with what you achieve, even if it takes you a little bit longer. Persistence, friend, is what you are seeking to have. It's bigger and more powerful, I would say, than consistency because things happen, our emotions waver, our moods, our attitudes, our energy levels, our time, etc. Distractions will happen. And so it can be harder to stay consistent day by day. But if you have persistence, that okay, Tuesday didn't work out, but I'm back at it on Wednesday. Or this week, completely screwed me over. I didn't have the time and the space. Okay. I'm not going to judge myself for that. I'm going to let it go. I survived. I lived my life. And now I will jump in from there. Like that's what persistence means. And it's a really beautiful thing for you to be able to jump back in and engage from where you're at. You don't have to be perfect, friend. Take that pressure off. Please, please, please stop judging yourself. You just need to be persistent. And every single time you choose to show up, even after you've fallen off, even after you miss a week, you're proving to yourself that you are worth it. And if you want to take this work deeper and explore other ways to support yourself in showing up, please visit me over at stephanieedwards.com. I'd love to be able to continue this journey with you over there. And I will see you tomorrow for day 15.